Greetings and salutations, Achroma fans. It's me, Lord then, and I'm back again with AchromaLord today for you with yet another booster pack opening video. Now you've seen me do 1, 2, 30, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Today we're going to be doing 20. That's right, 20 packs. Feel free to skip ahead. I won't take offense. There you go. Obviously, at the end of the video, I will be doing a recap of all the old tarts we're going to pull out from this 20. Without much further ado, let's get cracking and see what we managed to pull out. So, we're going to start off with a Wishwell Barons. Fantastic. Love a bit of love for the Norso. Aureum Twine. Turtle Glade. Achroma Overflow. Malum Drake. Monastery Keeper Alt Art, fantastic. Drain the Woods. Circlet of Dovetail. Delilah Crockett. And popular today, a Sprat Morale, sadly not an alt art, but a fantastic card to use. You get to splat one during your end step. You can both draw and trade. Actually, the legendary that I use for my trader deck. Now, next up we have a Magus Elite Inspector, a Lacringi Trader, the Varjadorja, we're gonna go there, a Pouch of Prosperity, action reveal a card with a shard value of 2 or less, an Elixir. Dispose, give a character on any canvas protection until the end of this turn. So if you actually play any of the multiplayer or team-based games, that's a fantastic card to have because you could use it on your teammates' canvas and give one of their characters protection until the end of that turn. The Brisgavi Fishing Spear. I just had a look a minute ago. I've actually got 5 of the Brisgavi Fishing Spear alt arts. So I think that's actually the first time I've seen the standard art come up in these. We have a Search for Power, a Corrupted Muon Trap, absolutely fantastic card, unless it's used against you. A Lacringi Cliff Dwelling, and last but not least, a Pixie Prison. Action, erase a character or erase all Pixie characters. That can be an absolutely fantastic card to have. It is a rare, it's going to have the 1 in your deck, but it only costs 3, and it gives you 2 back on the resolve. It's pretty fantastic. Essentially, you're spending 1 to erase a character with that card. The downside is, it does take up 1 of your rare slots. Kirishikugeki Jutsu, Scorched Stones, Draco Whelp, love the Whelp, Research Collection, Draco Hatchling, who doesn't love a Hatchling, Eric of Lacringi, Eric. A Trader's Lifeline. Until your next turn, whenever you trade, you get to draw a card. And you may trade when you deploy the card. It's a pretty fantastic card for trading decks. Civ's Shield. Sacrificial Over. And lastly, an Aureum Fracture. Not an alt art, but a fantastic card to have. It's actually in my usual Norso deck. Once per turn, you get to reveal a card, the number of cards or deck that you're playing with. For Norso, you're going to be getting +1 for every card in your canvas. Pretty fantastic. Otrix's Dole of Pins. Occultist's Athame, usually seen in the mouth of a poisonous dog. Colonel Lane. A Malum Drake. Do love a Malum Drake in a good sacrifice deck. Costs you 1, gives you 1 drain. Fantastic. Research Assistance. Serrano's Glare, Wincy's Spectacles, Skynet, erase a character with any colour, Corrupted Muon Trap, fantastic. Oh, and last but not least, Mirror Sanctum. I do love a good Mirror Sanctum in my Draco decks. Essentially, you get to copy any location on any canvas and you gain all of that attributes and actions. Lacringi Mines, Creature Comforts, Replenishment, Factory Overalls, Ravaged Elite, the Brisgavi Axe. There we are, stuck together slightly. Turtle Village, Road to Ludlam, and an Occultist Shaman. Hey! Sintamani Stone. This is the first time I've been able to get myself up a Sintamani Stone in one of the boosters. I've seen another couple of people pull them up in the past, so it's nice for me to get one as well. If you ever play with me, you'll know that I absolutely hate Sintamani Stones. They are my least favourite card. The reason being is I just don't find them much fun. It is, however, possibly the most powerful card in the game. It appears in every single palette that is part of the competition circuit. It is kind of a meta card. If you want to be competing and having your deck doing well at any kind of tournament, you kind of need to have Sintamani Stone taking up one of your rare slots. Why is it so powerful? Well, it only costs 5. I say only. It is a large cost, but you get 2 back on the steal, on the resolve, and as an action you get to dig a card from any player's dregs and immediately deploy it for free. Okay. Sounds kind of weird, so what that means is, as you're playing, you could destroy your opponent's really expensive legendary. When it's in their dregs, guess what? You can now play their legendary on your canvas, and it's going to be for free. Or at the start of your turn, if you want to be pretty sneaky, you can trade away your 6-shard legendary and say, oh no, I can't afford to play anything, I have to trade away my legendary, it's really going to hurt me, and then boom, you play out a Sintamani Stone, and you get to put that legendary on your canvas. Not only that, but Sintamani Stone is an object, which means you don't have to play it on your own canvas, you can play it on one of your opponent's characters, and then you can then say, have Conjure Otrix in your deck, that's been traded away, pull back your Otrix, and then claim their character for yourself. Pretty snarly, pretty sneaky, very, very powerful. We have an Achroma Blast. We have an Orium Twine, a Magus Elite Staff, a Lakringi Headdress, Block Out the Sun. I absolutely hate that being used against me. You get to erase all locations and characters with any yellow. A lot of my Sparata decks contain mostly yellow, so it tends to wipe my entire canvas out when used against me. Player's Lifeline again, a Matron, a Lakringi Shield Wall. Kind of love that card. Giant Centipede, brilliant card to have in your traders decks. 4 cost, 3 are back on the resolve. Nice beefy character for you to attack with. The downside is you cannot deploy characters while it's on your canvas. And then last but not least, a Cocoon Lantern for Sparata. Next up we have Block Out the Sun again. That would save me having to wear SPF 50 everywhere I go. Crown of Claws. A Lakringi Holder Totem, Silent Thicket. Great thing about that one is you get to restrain a character within the Silent Thicket. The downside is it does cost you 3, and there's no resolve on there. Orium Twine, Splat Teacher. This guy, Chapter 1, Splat Teacher, not very impressive. He does reduce the cost of cards in a player's hand by 1 yellow, and it gives you 1 back on the resolve. In Chapter 2, Sparata, he becomes one of my favourite cards, Mr. Hofel Brown. Next up we have an Infirmary, a Cerulean Draco, Phoebe Catapult, and last but not least, an Impundulu. Impundulu is pretty fun when you're playing against an Achron player because it gives all of your cards protection from Achron. Your characters protection from Achron. Next up we have an Orium Drill, Otrix's Dole of Pins, Dark Waters, a Lakringi Headdress, Thrall's Cuffs, Jarvis's Satchel, an Achron Blockade, Brynhild's Cookpot. Let's give an X bonus to every character with range on your canvas, which can be pretty fun. Castle Gates, And last but not least, an alt art of Dr. Cornelius Hugh. Fantastic. Looks like I'm getting a bit of Spirata love today. We have Load the Carts, Factory Overalls, Total Cannon, Kyoshu Kugeki Jutsu, Pixie Enlisting, Giant Prism, great to use anytime you have a trading deck, Achroma Haven, Search for Power, Violet Flora, and a Leaf of Lakringi. Not an alt art, but a great rare to have. +1 for each of your locations, and if you have the Lakringi Garden on your canvas, you get +2 instead. Can be a fantastic card to play out there and can win you the game on the same time he goes out. Okay. Don't forget, if you've already got the Lakringi Gardens on your canvas, when he goes out, he's going to get you +1 for his resolve and +2 for the gardens, so he pays for himself. Field of Lakringi, Dismantle, the Trader's Pass, Cave Spider, has no resolve, but that's not what it's for. It's got Poisonous, only a 1 shard cost, which means that when you stick it out, your opponent has got to spend some time getting rid of it, especially if they plan on having out one of their legendaries that don't want to lose to a single attack from a 1 shard card. Ring of Ice, Mortius Drake, Blueprint Swirl, love a good Blueprint Swirl in my Spirata decks. Rabid Dog, once again, only costs 2, gives you 1 steal, which is fantastic for a card regardless, but the Rabid Dog has Poisonous. Yes, we know rabies is a disease, but the card has Poisonous, and a lot of people tend to put Athame, how's the dog going to hold Athame? We'll see. Delilah Crockett again, and Darnakusk. Fantastic card to have. Sadly, not the alt art, but a great card nonetheless. Next up, we have the Orium Drill, Maidus Elite Muon Trap, another Cave Spider, Shield of Lakringi. Hey, I say give the shield to the Cave Spider. A Dismantle, another Delilah Crockett. Put up quite a few of her today. A Mandrake. Don't forget, it's Poisonous. Jarvis's Satchel. Drain the Woods. Hey, and Mrs. Potts. Fantastic. I do love the Mrs. Potts alt art. Next up we have Block Out the Sun. A Floating Wasteland. Wing Clipper, Cave Salamander, Cursed Crystals of Arcus, the Acrom Surge, Deadly Spores. Now, Deadly Spores can be quite fun because, as a dispose effect, you can drain 1 shard from all characters on all canvases. That does include your own characters as well. But if you're going to be losing a fight anyway, go ahead and do it. Jarvis Tremor, a Squad Formation, and last but not least, a Tengri. Not the alt art, but look at that artwork anyway. Tengri's fantastic artwork. As an action effect, gets choose another player, and they cannot deploy actions, locations, or characters during their next turn, which can be a great way to prevent somebody from gaining a foothold in the game. Next up we have a Drain the Woods, another Rabid Dog, a Dark Tolly, great for those guys playing sacrifice decks, Otrix's Conjuring, a Sorrow. I love Sorrow. As an action, you get to either each other player must either erase a character or each other player must erase a location. We have a Glacius Draco alt art. Fantastic. I do love that alt art. A Shield of Lakringi. Ravaged Elite. A Defensive Position. Oh, and an Arabella's Recipe. +1 for each card on your canvas with both Achrom and any colour. Fantastic. Don't forget, although it's an action spell, it does include itself as well when you play it. so you're automatically going to get one back when you play it. If you have at least one other card out there, then you'll be even when you play it. If you're playing it for free, then you're going to be gaining out for free. Pretty cool card. Achroma Overflow, Sacrificial Ritual, a Ramage, Shield of Lacrengi, Defensive Position, a Fireball, an AchromaLord, a Brizgavi Fishing Spear, that's the second one of those I've had now, an Imp, everybody loves an Imp, the most impressive of cards, and lastly a Conjure Otrix. I did mention earlier you could play something like Conjure Otrix alongside a Sintamani Stone. You could trade her away, play the stone, so you trade her for 5, pay the stone for that 5, so you're currently on, you're even on your shard count, play that stone on an opponent's character, and then pull up your Conjure Otrix, action, claim a character from another canvas. You can claim that character you just played Sintamani Stone on. Absolutely fantastic, and rather evil to do as well. Cue the laugh. I never do anything evil in Achroma. We have a Factory Overalls, we have a Magus Elite Agent, we have a Norso Trade Deal, we have a Load the Cards, one of those fantastic trade cards that Norso get, Monastery Underside, a Minimum Draco, which is a fantastic card for Dracos, costs you 3, you get 1 back on the resolve as an action, you get to choose another player and you draw a card for each other character on their canvas. It's pretty cool, great way of building up your hands, you've got lots of cards to play. Search for Power, Dragon Tooth Canine. Now this is possibly one of my favourite cards with Dispose. It's in a lot of my Draco decks. As a Dispose, you get to drain 2 shards from any card, which means you can either erase a card once it goes down, if it's a 2-shard card, or you can chain those together. You can have 2 of them on your canvas, dispose both of them, that's 4 shards you're draining from a card. Or if it's a character or another card you've actually attacked and they've got a couple of shards left on their health, you can then take them out with the remainder of the Dragon Tooth Canine. We have an Achroma Haven, and last but not least, a Brizgavi Feast. So all characters on your canvas have their strength increased by 2 that turn, and until the end of the turn, you immediately steal 1 each time your characters attack. If you've not played Norso, Norso actually have a keyword of Rage for some of their cards, and a Rage lets you attack twice in a turn, which means that you can be stealing 2 for each card that's attacking. Pretty fantastic. If you yourself have cards with protection on them so they can't die, then somebody could use that and keep throwing their characters against it just to gain that steal. We have a Malum Drake, Corrupted Groves. The shard value of cards in players' hands are reduced by 1 Achrom. Great card to have. Don't forget that also affects your opponent as well, so their cards will be cheaper. Achrom Bomb, Blackout, Scorched Stones, Draco Temple Scroll, an Achrom Claw, and we finally have the alt art for the Achrom Claw. Fantastic. We have a Fireball, another Minimum Draco, and a Pixie Prison again. I mentioned this card earlier, pretty fantastic card to have. Its only main downside is that it is rare. Next up we have a Samurai Drums, a Dracon, just like Ruby Draco, Dracon costs you 2, gives you 2 back. A great card to have in your Sparata deck. Great card to have in your Sparata deck. Like as I say, costs 2, gives you 2 back, pretty fantastic. Enslave the Thrall, Ritual of Knowledge, Brizgavi Shore, a Factory Production Line. I'm seeing it's coming up in a fair few decks for Sparata. You get to reveal an object and deploy it for free. If the object happens to be, say, I don't know, Prism Sprayer costing 5 shards, this only costs 3 shards. It's a 2-shard benefit, and as an action, or as a benefit, it's revealed. So you're just going through, if you don't have it in your hand, you're going through your deck to find it, which can be pretty fantastic. Obviously, you need to make sure it's the only one in your hand, or in your deck. Giant Centipede for Norso again. We have a Split Decision alt art. Brilliant. Sperata getting some more love today. We have a Achroma canister. And last but not least, a Leaf of Lacringi, who I mentioned earlier, can win you the game purely because he's getting +1 for each location. And if you have the Gardens of Lacringi down, he's getting +2. And let's face it, he's a gardener. What more do you need? We have a Creature Comforts, we have a Silver Sprinkles plant. I'm terrible at keeping my house plants alive. Maybe I should give Leaf a call to give me a hand with it. We have a Ludlam City Guard. We have a Magus Elite Detective. We have an Orium Drill. We have another Jarvis Tremor. We have a Claw Slash. I do like this card. Once again, this is one of those cards that you can use in effect with some of the cards mentioned earlier. If you're using Dispose, for example, to drain a couple of shards, this one will let you drain 3 shards from any card, including locations, don't forget. We have a Monastery Keeper. We have a Brisgavi Rage. And lastly, we have a Samir Smash. Erase all cards on other canvases with a shard value of 4 or less. Okay. Pretty fantastic. Why have I placed Monastery Keeper to one side? That's purely because we pulled out the alt art for him in our first deck. That's the difference in the alt art, in the standard artwork and the alt art for these. Let's face it, that artwork for the alt is absolutely fantastic, and also gives you an idea of how big the dragons are in Achroma. Monster Keepers are humans. So, one good chomp, and your dragons had dinner. Let's hope they're vegetarian. Well, I doubt the breaks are. We have a Pixie Enlisting, a Block Out the Sun, Velvet Worm, a Chroma Bomb, Load the Carts, a Drake Ambush, lets you erase 2 dragons, Siv's Shield, nice to see Siv's Shield getting some love today, Circlet of Dovetail for Sperata, a Teacher's Lectern, and a Solvig. Fantastic. Here's a 6 shard cost. You have 3 or more trolls on your canvas, can't be erased. And during a resolve step, you get to draw a card as well. Pretty fantastic. Last but not least, in case you're wondering, I have opened now, with this deck, 85 packs of Achroma cards, which is the most on camera. There's only 500 that have been made of the boosters. This is the 85th I've done on camera, which is 17% of all of the boosters they're ever going to make for Chapter 1. We have a Monastery Librarian, a Research Collection, another Ramage. I do love the research keyword, one of my favourites. An Occultist Warlock, one of my favourite characters. It is an Occultist. 2 cost, gives you 1 back on your steal. Fantastic. Acrom Smog. Locations cannot gain or steal until your next turn. A Curdle Village. A Green Raven. This is a little card you don't see very often. Once per player turn, you may look at the top card of the current player's palette. Now that's player turn, so in a multiplayer game, that's each individual person. On a 2-player game, a standard on canvas, that's the current player's turn, that's your turn, and also on your opponent's turn. Okay? You don't have to do it, so you don't have to reveal what your top palette is, your top card on your palette is, but maybe you want to know what it is so you can decide whether or not you're going to be drawing or trading on your start or your end step. Because this, during the turn, you can do it before you decide whether you're going to trade or draw. Okay? Fantastic. Now the Occultist Shaman. Deadly Spores. And for our very final card, this is the 850th card that I've done, as there's 85 packs, 10 cards in each pack. So this is card number 850 that I have revealed. We have Copper Dross, and it's the Copper Dross alt art. I've done all of these on camera. That's not been made up. That is absolutely fantastic. I had no idea that was going to be the card in question. Yeah, Copper Dross as a card possibly one of the best legendaries out there. She only costs 4, she gives you 3 back on the resolve, and she has Splat 3, which means you're going to be gaining 6 back after you deploy her. As a bonus, she cannot be attacked. So if you have any great objects you want to be sticking on something, Copper Dross is the one to put them onto. Yeah, and as an alt art, that's a pretty fantastic alt art. It's also the card that everyone kind of wants to get. Okay, so what a fantastic day. My final card, number 850, 17% out of all of the cards that have been made into boosters, and I get Copper Dross. How cool is that? That's all for me today. I'll be doing another couple of videos soon on all of the alt arts and realm cards and realm objects and realm rifts, everything else that I've pulled out of the booster packs. And I'll also be making some videos on actually creating some decks using some of the cards I've pulled out of the booster packs. Obviously, with 850 of them, I should be able to make 1 or 2 packs that can be played with. That's all for me today. Have a great day. If I don't see you, have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night.